And a buddy of mine is in. He was. I don't know if he's still in Brussels or he's back in Prague. But he sent me his picture. He went with a buddy of his, and he has some mussels. And look at that. He said they put cheese. I don't eat mussels, so I don't know a lot about mussels. Um, I eat sushi and all that, but now my line with fish is mussels, like mussels and oysters, like straight from the shell. I just could never do it. I can eat all types of like you- sushi for what we know sushi is. I can eat a whole bunch of that, but like when it comes to the mussels and the things in the shell like that, I can eat snail. I actually love snails, but mussels, I just could not get with that. And he went to Belgium last week, and he sent me some messages back. Oh, and he sent me this too. I didn't know this was real in Belgium. Like motherfuckers really eat that shit. I guess I've never been to Brussels. Is Brussels in Belgium? I don't even know. But he's there now. He sent pictures back from some restaurant. I didn't even know people really ate. I didn't know that was real. I thought that was just some bullshit on TV, like waffles with like strawberries and chocolate. I guess it's real. Wait, what? Oh, okay. But yeah, so we are live. Can you hear me? You should be able to hear me. Let me check myself real fast. Let me see. Make sure you can hear me. Make sure I'm not just talking to myself right now. Oh, I forgot. I made the date wrong. It says 11. It is 11. Oh no, wait. That's 2 weeks ago. No, hang on. No, it says live right. No, what? I'm so confused. Am I even live right now? No, people are commenting. Okay, so I'm live. Okay, I can't even find myself. Anyway, yeah, man, I did a live stream all last week because honestly, I've just been enjoying life by myself. After me and the baby's mother fell out and I kicked her out, I've been very happy. Been very happy. I've been cleaning shit and moving shit and remodeling shit, and I'm buying a couch that's coming tomorrow. I guess I just been buying new shit, fixing shit, rearranging. I'm like I really should have done this sooner. I should have went more single much earlier. This is like I've been having fun. I've been having genuine, and I'm talking to this girl, and she's like 20. She's like 20 21. She's in college, and she's great so far. Yeah, I'm having a great time. I'm genuinely like I was just playing Devil May Cry 3 before I came in to start this live stream. And the reason why I started playing Devil May Cry 3 is because somebody recommended me in the comments section to watch the new Devil May Cry anime. And to be honest, I watched a trailer for it, and I was like, I don't know. Then I fucked around and watched it. It was really good. The new Devil May Cry anime, in my opinion, is about as good as you're gonna get. I'd put it in the same boat as Fantastic Four. Like I did not expect it to be that well made. I was a little scared at first because they were making Dante and like, they were almost kind of making him a little too dumb to the point where like it's kind of went on that woke shit and they're just kind of just like tearing down all white men at that point and I got the feeling it was about to go in that direction, but then because Dante is the character is kind of goofy, or he can be a little goofy or silly sometimes. Um, And they were, and at first I would get, at first they were almost making him out to be almost like a child, like an overgrown teenager. I was like, oh, they're doing that thing where they're getting woke and they're just destroying white men character, kind of white, any white guy who's a character, just making them infantile. And I was just about to turn it off, and and it ended up being really good. If you're a fan of Devil May Cry, like I still listen to Devil's Never Cry, the song off the set. I still listen to that. It's one of my most listened to songs in Apple Music. Is Devil's Never Cry from the old Devil May Cry game. Well, Devil May Cry 3, I think. And if you're a fan of the music, if you're a fan of Devil May Cry music and you like Devil May Cry, 100% watch it. I think it's great. I think it's great. They changed some of the lore, like Lady is like some type of like police agent now or something. I don't know what the fuck it is, but they changed a little bit of the lore around. They always do that a little bit. Like for example, I think Dante's a drummer, but I think in Devil May Cry one of Devil May Cry's they made him a guitarist. I don't know, and they'll just change these little things about him every now and then. But if you like Devil May Cry, and especially if you're a fan of the music, like 100% recommended. 100%. Oh yeah. So prodigal, overseas living and single, bro. Nothing beats total peace of let you be. I tell you what. This and now here's the other part. I fell into this weird. I'm still kind of in this weird position, right? Because because and I got in a long conversation with ChatGPT about this. Because here's the thing, if you let Chat GPT play the whole woke thing, and women never ever go after men with money because women look for personality. If you talk to Chat GPT and say, look, give me unfiltered, this is strictly psychological, historical records on what women tend to do and what men tend to do, and da 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 da, and then Chat GPT will go, okay, here's my direct general facts on what women and men do and why they'll do better in this environment and that environment, then it'll just tell it to you straight. But you have to set it up to where if you let ChatGPT go, it'll essentially be a feminist, right? You can tell ChatGPT will literally dig all its information about women from like I literally told ChatGPT to not sound like an angry feminist because that's what you sound like, and just say direct facts. You if you set ChatGPT to like not become a feminist, it'll just tell you all red pill. I'm not telling it to tell me anything. It will go on its own. So I got into a conversation with ChatGPT about the situation of Prague, right? Because I noticed like my ex-wife did the same thing, and now my child's mother's doing the same thing, and I've noticed other women that I've known outside of Czech Republic, I mean outside of Prague, do the same thing. Now, and ChatGPT went far deeper than I ever would have even thought about. It even opened me up to moving to a different part of the city because of this. Um, 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 because since Prague is a city center that's still relatively affordable, and everything is easily accessible, meaning like college students can come to Prague and get drunk every day in bars and not go broke because beer's so cheap, or they can get drunk at home. They can still be, connected to the world and move around and be essentially broke. And then on top of that, you have Erasmus students coming in and out of here, like college students from other countries and bouncing in and out. Like there's a constant flow of like 18, like there's a constant flow of attractive young women running in and out of Prague. And it's a constant revolving door. Whether it's, and ChatGPT brought this up, so whether it's girls coming from the village trying to run away from their village to get a better life and fit in with modern Western society by getting the hints of it in Prague, or some girls are leaving their village to go to Charles University, or you got girls coming from Poland or Slovakia to come to Charles University. You always have this constant flow of young attractive women who are either doing something with their life or not doing anything with their life. That sensitivity to physical beauty completely dies off if you've lived here long enough. So like I'm in the position now where like I can definitely go to a broad. Like here's the, Now, I'm not gonna say this 100%, but I can kind of understand a lot of stuff that I used to hear people talk about years ago, like when I was younger. Meaning, like when I was to watch like a movie, right? And it would be like some girl like coming from a small city coming to live in New York City, and she would just get completely turned out and all this, and like and the guys would know exactly what she was when she came in the door. Like now I can see that in women in Prague. Like I see that now. Like it doesn't take me too long of speaking with a woman to figure out, okay, do you really belong in a village? Did you just come to Prague to like try to make a name for yourself, or are you coming to Prague to actually build your life and do and and reinvent yourself to actually be able to completely live here? Because you gotta remember, like in Czech Republic, like Prague, the Czechs are like New York City to New York to Americans. It's like that's a big financial jump for them. So like for them, it's like it's everything, and then it blends into their identities of what they want. And like I said, my ex-wife and my child's mother were both pretty similar in the situation. Like they were just trying to hold on to Prague, but they never really understood anything outside of village life. Like they neither one of them. So and the awkward part comes in is when you deal with women like this. And I'm not saying it's to bash them. I'm just saying that this is a demographic is like to everybody else, it'll be very clear that like they just don't fit in, they don't get it, they're never going to develop in a way that's going to make them like, okay, this is my life, I do this, I live here. Like they're always kind of clinging to living in the big city kind of thing, right? In their big city. It's not really a big city, but it's their big city. You know, they're kind of clinging to any last remnant that they had, any last symbol that they could make it in Prague, right? But it's clear that they've washed out. No education, no marketable city skills, clinging to these been here 10 years and still clinging to these entry level teenager jobs. Like, and it's really sad. It's really sad. But there are a lot of girls who come here and they genuinely are trying to fix their life. They're genuinely applying themselves in university, or reaching for higher jobs and assistant jobs. Like they're reaching for real jobs. There's a lot of and the one girl I'm talking to now, she's in one of those because they have different names for it here, but she's in a serious degree, and when you talk to her, it's a whole different. This girl's 20 and she's light years ahead of my last two spouses here in Czech Republic, and she's a good 10 years. She's a good 10 years younger than both of them now. Actually 10 to 15 years. When I talk to her, it's like I'm talking to somebody who's there's a little signs here or there that she's 20, but for the most part she's finishing my sentences. When I'm talking serious like this. Because women, they'll always want you to believe that when you're 40, like no 20-year-olds want you or something like that. That's bullshit, dude. I'm telling you, that is completely bullshit. There's women and lonely guys who will talk you into thinking no 20. Here's the thing. There's great 20-year-old women out there. But like I said about like 2 weeks ago, don't go after 20-year-old women working at the cash register at Walmart. Okay, yeah, now that's trash. Okay. The 20-year-old girl working at the register at Shell gas station or Walmart, that's just temporary cute trash. Okay. See, when you live in a city like Prague, you see that type of girl all the time. So like now it's to the point where like as soon as like me or other guys like me or better than me walk into a room, we already know which one is just to be used for sex and literally be forgotten, because the only reason why she's even in this room is because by her biological disposition to the world, or biological position to the world. If it wasn't for that, she couldn't even have made it to Prague. You know what I mean? But see, like they think they're fooling someone. They think they're sliding under the radar and getting in, but they're not. You know what I mean? And some of them, they'll end up working at show parks. Some of them, they'll have to prostitute for a while. But they'll die off. Once they gain 5 pounds in the wrong area, that'll be it, and they'll be running back to their village, or lower their standards in the city just so they can stay in the city, kind of thing. It's really sad. It's really sad. And guys do it too. Guys, they come from out the village, to come out to Prague to try to fit in. Guys do it too, but it's nowhere near the same level. Like guys can't compete with girls when it comes to like traveling in the world at 20. But there are guys who do it, and they end up just staying party guys because they never went to school, they never advanced themselves in real life, they never stuck with anything outside of drinking and talking to people with loud music. So like they just end up, staying party guys at 45, and it's just so awkward when you see them. You know what I mean? What's up, Elijah? Oh, he's good, man. He's great actually. So the last few weeks, because I've been taking him to school, the last few weeks, he just gets so nervous. My son would just get so nervous around other kids. He just doesn't like other kids. And he just gets so nervous that he like forgets he's potty trained and like pees on himself in school, or like just throws up on himself in school. So like for the last 2 weeks, when I go to pick him up, either they call me early and say, "Yeah, you got to come get him because he ain't right today," or he makes it the whole day, but he peed on himself because I got to carry his clothes that he peed in or threw up on himself in a bag all the way home. And he's fine. Like, he's not sick. He just gets like super nervous and just cryy and panicky all the time. Like, he just doesn't like kids. But this Monday and Tuesday was the first time in like 2 weeks when I went to go pick him up, and he didn't even pee on his pants or nothing. He was like perfectly fine. Like this Monday and Tuesday was the first time. As I drop him off and pick him up, I walk him there. I walk him to school and I walk him back from school. But he's great. Women definitely want older men. Older women just shame men from 35 to 45, so these men don't get taken by younger. Oh, yeah, the Uno. Oh, yeah, it's 100. Yeah, yeah. But like I said, again, it's the area, and it's where you're finding these younger women at, I think is the other big thing. Because here's the thing. If the 20-year-old girl is legitimately like educated and on a path to do something, like those girls usually do a lot better with not caring so much about like, being judged for it potentially. Now the younger, like now the 20-year-old girls that are working in like retail stores, these trashy jobs for 20-year-old girls, this is where you're going to find 20-year-old trash. They'll be in retail stores, a lot of times waitressing jobs, receptionist gigs, even like, and Chat GPT even elaborate on this, like front desk receptionists, assistants in offices. Chat GPT actually said that assistants are actually some of the worst professions because it gives them that feel of being an administrative, because they get to dress up nice, but they're essentially just a waitress they're just a waitress in heels. That's and with the assistant label on it. You know what I mean? In the office. But if you find 20-year-old girls who are genuinely like on a path in life, right? And I mean like on a path, like they have a good sense of focus. You know what I mean? And when you talk to them, like they know how to speak directly back to you. Right? It's not this like floating around shit. You know what I mean? You got to find 20-year-old girls who are in that world of focus. Those girls can be great, amazing to hang out with. But like I said, when most of society says, "Oh, like if you're 40, like no 18-year-old girl wants you, no 20-year-old girl wants you," yeah, like okay. There's so many layers that go into it. First off, those 18 and 20-year-old girls that they're talking about, they are 100% fucking a dude who's 30, 35 at minimum. Okay, they're just keeping it secret. They're not telling anybody. Now, the younger guys and all the women would just, in order to cope with losing, they'll just say, yeah, they don't want you, blah, 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 blah. And I'm bald, dude. I'm a 40-year-old bald, and she knows I have a 3-year-old son, right? Because we were laughing about him throwing up. standing outside. We was talking, standing outside. Well, even though we were walking down the street. First we was standing, then we walked because I walked her to the tram, and we were talking about it, laughing. And I'm an older bald black dude in Czech Republic, and she's a white Czech girl. You see what I'm saying? And you know, when they bring this up, I think most people when they think of a 20-year-old girl, they're thinking of a 20-year-old girl who is just an average person in the population. Yeah, like those 20-year-old, like all 20-year-olds are fucking dumb. Like 20-year-old guys and girls, they're all fucking stupid. The only thing that gives women any elevation is because that's when women are actually pretty. So they're, that is when woman can universally just be loved, desired, and wanted and cared for as a woman. Whereas like a 20-year-old guy cannot be loved, cared, and desired as a man yet, because by society standards, if you're 20, you're just still not a man. You're not there yet in terms of experience, wisdom, just pretty much just experience and wisdom, because money's going to come and go. But you're just not there yet, right? You can't be. It's pretty much impossible unless you grew up in some extreme conditions. But yeah. Back to the 20-year-old girl. Oh, more times than not. Here's the thing: if you're any kind of an older guy, I would say society pretty much sees everybody as old once you hit 30, older. Well, yeah, I say old, not old, but older. If you're over 30, the main things that you do to stay desirable to any girl from the age 18 and up, okay, as a man, all you have to do is make sure you stay in shape, you don't smell, you know how to dress well, and you look like you take baths every day, brush your teeth, have basic hygiene. In reality, I would say it's really better. In some ways, I would say it's easier for men than it is for women, in the sense of genuinely being liked, right? Because most women are not genuinely liked. Most women will be liked first just because they're just a woman, right? They don't really have to talk, especially if they look cute. All she has to do is just laugh a little bit and smile, and and take a bath, and that's all she needs. Whereas like, but women's window of being attractive is so small that that's usually going to crumble relatively quickly, especially for the crowds that she wants to get in. Whereas as a man, once you get like to 30 and up, like all of that shifts in your favor. Now it's not going to shift in the sense of like, women won't actively approach you, because most women just don't approach. But in the context of generally being desirable on any level, I would say, yeah, the three core things for every man to at least be potential in every woman's eyes is stay in some kind of physical shape. Don't have your belly hanging over your pants, nothing like that. Stay in some kind of physical shape. I don't even think being bald really matters. Honestly, I'm bald. But I don't think in my history of just knowing men and women, I don't even think being bald matters. I would say just be in shape, make sure your clothes fit well. And it's very easy to figure that out is once you know the basics. You can dress at an H&M, or you can go to Brooks Brothers, or you can go to fucking Armani. It doesn't matter. As long as your clothes just fit well and they go together and they fit in nice and a timeless style, right? That's all you really need. And then hygiene. Make sure you brush your teeth. If you got hair, brush your hair, clean your hair, clean your ears. There's basic hygiene. Though, then after that, maybe if you can just keep a conversation going. And that's like the baseline of it, of you being like, you will be at least potential in every woman's eyes. If you can maintain those three things as a man. In my opinion, where most guys fuck up, where most men fuck up, is not even. I think the first thought would be hygiene and being like high maintenance or hygiene. I don't think that's it. I don't think that's where most men fuck up. most men fuck up with presentation and dressing. I think that's where most men fuck up. Presentation, how they dress. I think that is definitely number one. Most majority men. It's one of those things that just like get completely overlooked by a lot of men. Because I told a story a while back on this channel how I got into like getting my clothes tailored. Because when I was in college, I never even used to try on clothes. I would just pick them up and just pick them up, hold them up, and say, "Oh, that looks like it fits," and just buy it, right? And then I remember I just started thinking, I wonder, I always hear tailoring is expensive. And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna find somebody and ask them about tailoring. And I walked around the mall, I walked around Dayton Mall. I was living in Dayton, Ohio when I was in college. And I can never remember the name of the store, but I remember it now. It was called Express. I don't know if Express is still in the States, but Express was pretty much Zara, but like wildly overpriced. This was back in the years where getting like, you know, really fashionable clothes was only for expensive motherfuckers. Like there was no such thing as H&M yet. So like, but it was H&M quality shit. Like they could still get away with it. And when the Express is just fast fashion garbage. That's all it ever was. But it was expensive back then. And we didn't know the difference because we hadn't, this was 25 years ago now, 20 years ago, so we didn't know, at 20, you don't really care about things like material and these kind of things, right? So I remember I go in there and there was this dude working in there and I said, and I just told him, I said, look, I have no idea what I'm doing. I want to see about, I don't even know what size pants I wear. And he goes, okay. What do you? He goes, hey, you got a minute? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. He goes, okay, well, I'm gonna go help these customers out, and I'll be right back, and I'll get you together. And I was like, okay, and I waited on him, right? And he goes and he helps the other people. And he comes back and he pulls out a tape measure and he takes all my measurements and he goes over to the jeans and he goes, here, try these on. Whap, right? And if these don't fit, then I'll go get one size bigger, one size smaller. So don't worry about it. And I go to the fitting room and I put on the pants. And when I looked at myself in the mirror, I said, oh my God, I'm actually a hot dude. Like I'm a hot guy. If my clothes just fit, right? I didn't know, right? I just looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, go looking at myself from the side and shit. I'm like, oh shit. Right. So when I came out, I remember I asked him about it. And he said, yeah, man, my dad was a tailor and he made clothes. And he said, yeah, man, it's just so crazy. Like and he said nothing annoyed him more than when he used to see like security guards, like men. When you see like the security guards or like for like stores, and they'll put them in these suits, and they don't get them tailored. They like the pants legs are just falling all over the shoes. The cuffs are just like falling off. It's like the cuff is like up here on their hand. And he said it's just all that would be. That's literally a $10 job to fix that, and they would look a million times better. And he was right, man. Like, and I think that's where most men fuck up. Is proper fit and tailoring. If you can fit those two together, then you will always have some woman eyeballing you. Okay. Now in Europe, it's a little more normal. In Europe, they I guess like overall just care a little bit more about fashion because that's the one thing they can actually control. So they do just care more about fashion overall. But yeah, I think that's where most men fuck up. And then it gets worse as men get older. I think as guys start to get older, they get worse. And it's like by the time they get older, they've gotten so bad that they don't even want to try anything new because now they're just that afraid of failing. Like, for example, my dad, well, pretty much every man in my dad's side of the family and everybody they know, all these guys fall into the same boat. They just dress like shit. All of them look like they went and dug their clothes out the dumpster and then put them on, and then always complain about women don't like when they look at them. I'm like, yo, I wouldn't like if you looked at me looking like that. Like, I feel like you getting ready to rob me. Because all of them dress like shit. All of them dress like Charlie Brown characters or some shit. You know what I mean? like the shirts just so big. The shirts are just horribly fitting. The pants are just way too long. They're dragging the floor. They got holes in the bottom of their pants. And see, and then now this is now because I'm gonna bash men on this live stream. So this is exercise that I always give to men and women. Men and women. If okay, and me and my Russian friend, the one I just showed the pictures of, he was in Belgium with the muscles. We talk about this, because my spouse and my child's mother, she ended up gaining weight, and we talked about it, and he actually set up for what I did, and he's like 26. He said, look, if you don't put that effort into you, why, like, that's selfish to expect someone else to put that effort into you, like, okay, if I put no effort in the way that I dress, in the way in my hygiene, the way that I dress, the way that I live, right? Like that is extremely selfish of me to expect a woman to come in the room looking like Halle Berry in her prime. Like that is horrifically selfish to expect that. And I'm not saying that, maybe the Halle Berry in her prime did like a dude who didn't care about himself. But like to walk in the world and expect to not put much effort in, but you expect effort out the world, like that's selfish on your part. You know what I mean? And like, cause I know one of my dad's friends, this dude got nice everything, man. Like this dude he has a nice house. He had retirement. He makes great money, but he dresses like shit. And I said, look, all it would take is $150 suit from what's that, the Men's Warehouse. If he just went to Men's Warehouse when they had a sale and get him $150 suit, get him about 3 of them. Don't pay no woman's bills that he's chasing around. Don't do any of his other silly shit. If he just went to the store and bought 3 decent suits that fit well from Men's Warehouse, and just some cheap button ups from like H&M or something like that, right? And just some good casual sneakers or some good shoes, and just walked around. He don't even got to say shit. Just walk around with confidence, looking like that. Go to Starbucks and just get a cup of coffee, sit down and read a newspaper. And go there every Saturday morning or something. Every Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. Maybe not Starbucks, but just a coffee shop. You know what I mean? And you come in there with the little bitches gonna be on him. like they gonna be trying to lock eyes with him and everything. Acting like they just accidentally looked at him. But he doesn't. He wears t-shirts with holes in them. Got missing teeth and all this, and then wondering why women don't come to him and respect him. Like he wouldn't come if he was a woman, he wouldn't come to him and respect him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I think one big area where a lot of guys fuck up is like it's a mixture of the confidence with just the initial presentation, right? I think that's where I think that's if I had to guess, that would be where I would say a good 50% of men fuck up. Then I would say the next 40% would be confidence and conversation. But I think a lot of that can come from the fact that I think a lot of that is the consequence from not having that sense of attention to detail, right? Like it's like because it grows out of that. You see what I'm saying? Like these little things add up in the growth. But yeah, guys with men or women, like if you wouldn't date you, then look if like for any man who's complaining about a woman, like look at yourself in the mirror. Like on them catfish shows, I be watching them catfish shows. There's a catfish show I was watching. This I remember watching their channel when they first started. They had like no views, and their channel blew up. I think it's called. Let me look it up. What's that channel called? I think it's just called Catfish. But I watched this one. I actually watched this episode. I am almost positive. This woman thinks that Kevin Costner is in love with her. Right? Look in the mirror. Like, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, look in the fucking mirror. Like, think about this for a second. I'm not going to call you ugly. But I'm just gonna say this: like, look, like, would a man with $1 million want you? And I'm not saying this to be mean, right? Because a lot of times this show, there's no. Hold on, let me so you guys can see the name of the channel. Because a lot of times this show, they'll get like the people's kids to talk about it, and the kids are completely like they know because the kids will be like 30 years old, and they say, yeah, like this dude is not like this celebrity does not want my mother who was 65 and like he doesn't make sense. Like the kids know, right? My thing is this: like, just be aware of your position in the world. Now, once you're aware of your position, you still got to fight through bullshit. Like, there's gonna be, women who are gonna shoot way too high out their league or be fucked up. So you still got to work with it. Um, but yeah, but just stay aware of your position. But yeah, thanks for the tip, Eric. It's not going. What's up, Eddie? I believe you once had a video talking about dealing with Russian women. I hear people always say they're great for men looking for traditional wives. Of course, there's a catch. I'm wondering if you know. Oh man, the friend of mine who's Russian, we talk about Russian women. Like he said, no, Russian women are terrible. We talk about Russian women. He is Russian, and we talk about Russian women. He knows that like Russian women are I don't want to say awful. I did know a couple Russian women who genuinely did have a good personality, but like I would say this. I've never known a Russian woman to keep a relationship for a long time, just from my experience. I'm sure they exist, but I've never known one that consistently held on to relationships. Now, from my perspective, Russian women, if I had to guess, because there's this other girl, because one of his friends, I've been kind of hollering at one of his friends, and I always get the country she's from confused. I think she's from Kazakhstan. I always get the countries, all those stands, I get them confused. But like some of them are like poor countries, and the other ones are like okay countries. And Russia is essentially like North America and that part of the world, right? Like that's the place where people go for opportunity. Um, um, Now Russian women, I have never met a Russian woman who did not have this. And I was telling my Russian friend about this because I don't even know how to explain it. There's this weird, strange mix. There of what we would call Westerner, but on the back end, like they still maintain a good level of polish. Whether it's if she's still physically attractive, her skin routine is going to be on point. She's going to dress very well all the time, you know. But or if she's not physically attractive, she's going to learn how to be nice. Like I've never met like an ugly Russian woman who was mean, right? It's like because like they know like they can't afford to be mean, which is fucked up to say, but it's a reality. But even with that, like I've never known a Russian. I'm sure they exist, but I've never known a Russian woman that everybody just liked and stayed like that. I've never known one. They have this weird mix of like hustler mentality, a little bit of masculinity. Um, I wouldn't even say cold. I think the cold mentality, in my experiences, that's not so much Russia. That's more like these like Czech and Slovak areas of that cold. I would even say like Melania Trump. She's from Slovenia. I would even give her that same air of like this awkward like cold. I've never known a Russian woman to be cold. They're usually a little more eccentric from my experiences. Um, um, wait, I'm trying to find where I was at. But so coming to the if men are looking for traditional wives, okay. Eric, I would say maybe if they were talking about it, they were probably talking about some village or something. And now I would strongly now that I've been down this road, living in at least in Europe, I would say do not get with a village girl. don't get with a woman who's uneducated. If you have any sense of ambition and trying new things and educating yourself and wanting adventure, I would say to stay away from village girls, girls who migrated to the city center from a village, because they're like, unless they meet you and they're like thoroughly already like trying to do something, like they're always going to be a little mentally stunted. Like these girls, they're always going to be mentally stunted. Whenever you're going to want to do something, they're just like, see that shy, cute, quiet, reserved. That's cute, uh, in theory. She needs a man's help and all this stuff like that because she doesn't drive and this and that. It's cute in theory, but in reality, it's a fucking nuisance, dude. Like, okay, some dudes may have a place for it. I don't. I think it's annoying. Um, when you get with a partner and you want to do something, and if anything of any value is going to be done, it has to come from you. Like that's how women get massively cheated on. That's one way women get mad because it's just too draining. It's too draining. It sounds good from like a princess theory and all this shit like that, with a glass slipper and she doesn't get dirty and all this stuff like that. I guess sounds good, but in theory, it's really it's just punishingly draining, in my opinion. Maybe it could be different for you, but for me, no, I wouldn't date. I wouldn't even touch a village girl. Um, I wouldn't touch one. I wouldn't touch a girl who works at a coffee shop. I wouldn't touch a girl who works at as a receptionist. I wouldn't touch a girl who is in any of these jobs unless they're like clearly like seriously in school to do something with their life. Knowing what I know now. What's up, Bhutan? I can't say that. Ralph Lauren is the ridiculously overrated. Oh, Ralph Lauren is like big over here now, man. I didn't even know. Like it's luxury. It's damn near luxury over here, and people spend that shit, man. I was never really a fan of Ralph Lauren, to be honest. I just never really seen it because we had, in America, you could find outlet malls and all this shit like that. Over here, they outlet, well, at least in Prague, outlet malls, absolutely not. They're not even nowhere near that. Like, they don't even make it in that tier of getting like Germany and Poland's junk yet to get outlet. I mean, we do have an outlet mall here, but it's like it's pretty bad. I forget what it's called, but it's out there by Cherney Most. I forget what it's called. Premium outlets. That's what it's called. I went out there twice, and I never felt the need to go back out there again. That should tell you, well, as an American, because I'm used to, as an American, we're used to things actually going on sale, for good prices. But yeah, so I remember when my dad came here, when we were walking down, so we were walking somewhere, and I was telling him, because I think something came up where he was looking for stores, and oh, that's what it was. Because we were looking for a store, and they had replaced it with something else but that had replaced a video game store. And I said, look, see that, and I told my dad this theory on how countries start to get poor, or they're already poor, is because when countries start to get poor, or there's a big financial disruption in the area. Okay, let's say and I'm not just trying to sound like I'm bashing Europe. First, let's talk about America. How you can tell you're in a poor area in North America is you start seeing a lot of liquor stores, pawn shops, uh, a lot of liquor stores and pawn shops. Then when you start getting out of like the ghettos and you start getting like to lower middle class, you're gonna start seeing a lot of like automotive parts stores, like O'Reilly's, Auto Advance. I can't even remember. It's been so long. I can't remember the names of these places. But you're gonna start seeing these places like Napa. You're gonna start seeing these places that sell these auto parts for your car, so you can fix your car. Because if you're in the lower middle class, there's a much better chance you're gonna be driving a used car that's gonna have problems, and it's cheaper just to buy the part from like Advance Auto Parts. Buy a new whatever to put in your car, to fix it because it's cheaper to do that than take it to the dealer, and it moves up, right? So in the world, my theory of how you can see this is if they have video game stores, if they have stores that where you buy it and okay, let me phrase this correctly. How you can tell when countries or big places countries start to get poor is typically when every shop is going to be a shop that is selling something that you can clearly and blatantly show off. For example, like when I was in Ukraine, you couldn't find a used video game store. You couldn't find a video game store because you can't walk down the street and show that off. But you can always find Dolce and Gabbana and Gucci and anything you can, because see, once people get so poor, like they gravitate towards things they can show off to still say, no, I'm still here, right? So you're going to have a lot more shops that sell jewelry, clothes, maybe colognes to go with the clothes, but you're not gonna have like things like bookstores, video games, anything you gotta take home to enjoy, away from people. You're gonna have hard times finding that in these countries. Because yeah. But yeah, back to the Russia thing, where I rambled off on. I think people have that. If someone were to say, here's the thing. I think the Russian woman being deemed as a good housewife kind of thing, or trad wife. I think that's the same sense of confusion of like Argentina women being sexy. It's not Argentina women. You're looking for Brazilian women. You're looking for like northern South America, maybe even Chile. But Argentina women are not sexy, dude. Like when I went to Argentina, I went down there expecting to see Vita Guerreras and shit. No, fam. No. There was not one girl who, Argentine. There was not one Argentinian girl who was like standout gorgeous. You know what I mean? There's not one I would stay there for. But when we went to Devil's Throat, that canyon, that waterfall is called Devil's Throat. It's where Uruguay, let's look it up. It's where Uruguay and all that shit meet. It was like 5 hours. We were on a bus for like 5 hours. Yeah, this is it. Called Devil's Throat. We went here. Can you see that? And then when you go there, you're gonna see, and it's like an outdoor kind of zoo, and like the animals, like they don't gate them or anything. They just like come and sit on your lap and shit. But we went here, I think it's called Iguazu Falls or something like that. I think it's yeah, Iguazu Falls, yeah. So we went there, man, and when you go there, it's like right where like Uruguay, I think like Paraguay, Uruguay. It's like where all that shit. Oh, let's go there. Let's do this. Google Maps and then go to. It's like where 3 countries meet, and then oof, where is it? Yeah, this is it. Yeah. So yeah, because this is Argentina. What's that over there to the left? Oof, I'm all confused. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So we drove from Buenos Aires on a bus all the way up there. And it's like, what's that, Paraguay? And what's that country over there? Brazil. Yeah. So when we went there, man, like I immediately knew when I seen a Brazilian woman. Like immediately. Like, I didn't even have to guess. Because she was built like Jessica Rabbit. Like like she was built like a thick Jessica Rabbit. But her stomach was flat, and you could tell she wasn't rich. It was like some surgery. She wasn't rich. She didn't even carry herself like that. I still remember she was wearing blue jeans. I never forget that because the way she was walking, and I just stared at her as she walked past. I immediately knew that's what I was looking for the whole time, not this Argentina shit. Because our like even their clothing style just wasn't. It just wasn't it, man. Like I was not impressed. Maybe I was in bad areas. I don't know, but I did not meet. No, let me tell you, there was one cute Argentina girl. She was trying to talk to me in Spanish, and I didn't know what the fuck she was talking. I was looking for shower shoes, and we were standing outside for like an hour because I didn't know where to get shower shoes from, and it was nighttime, and we were all standing out front of the pharmacy because I guess that's where you had to buy shower shoes from. Because I was in a hostel, and I was standing outside for like an hour talking. She was taller than me too. She was cute and she was real cool and nice. And she was trying. We was trying to communicate, and it just wasn't. I mean, ducha de lucha or some shit like that. Ducha de lucha. And I never did get shower shoes. I ended up buying some Crocs and just used the Crocs as shower shoes. Um, but yeah. But yeah. I think the idea that Russian women will be like that, like that this thing of like Russian mail order bride or Ukrainian order bride, these kind of things. Um, what you're typically gonna get in that is gonna be a village girl. You're gonna get a village girl who's gonna be generally mostly a complete fucking idiot in the world when it comes to like doing things in the world unless you get lucky and find one who was like educated. But look, by the time they go on these websites or by the time these women are doing that, like, but by the time okay, first you got to remember in these countries, pretty much anywhere on earth, once you leave that city center, that the wages outside of America and what most Western countries, I would even say like Britain's the same way. Once you leave that capital city, those average wages get cut in half, dude. And when you're talking about a country like Ukraine or Russia, where like many places, like the average wages will be like between $300 to $500 a month. Look, they don't have the money to even get to those capitals where you gonna go to visit. You ain't never even gonna come across that. All right. You're gonna come across women who are there and already surviving. And many times those women are gonna be city women. They're not gonna be trad wives. You can probably get lucky. I'm not gonna say it can't happen, but a lot of that is just, in my opinion, I think is distorted from assumptions. Um, yeah, and then on top of that, when you get to these like these Soviet countries, see these women are a lot of times are either straight working women or like straight looking for a man for survival. It's not very common you find just like two evenly working partners in the world. Like there's a lot of issues with that I think the world just kind of like, they'll hear like one story and just run away with that kind of thing, like, and have no like actual experience like with, post-Soviet with Soviet countries or post-Soviet, post-communism countries. Like it really is an entirely different mentality. A guy, I don't know if you're watching, man, but we was walking in Prague and we talked, because he asked me about, is it safe to go to Ukraine to find a woman? And I said, look, a Ukrainian woman will slaughter the average Westerner man. He's just not ready. He's not ready for that. On emotional shit, realities. Most of those women will I have experience slightly with due to dealing with Czech women, so now I know the little, these little, just these little issues that can pop up and arise. Not definitely not all of them, but I have enough experience to live, 50 miles outside the city and be in the middle of fucking nowhere where there's just like grass fields everywhere. It just be literally out where nobody's gonna speak English. I've had that experience before, so like I could go out there and do it, but I would never recommend a man who's never had any experience with Soviet shit or anything to go to Ukraine, to go further out east and exist out there. I would never recommend a Western to do that. Never, because those women will slaughter you. Because you coming from two whole different types of mentalities, man. Come from two whole entirely different types of mentalities. Unless you had a friend, okay, now like say like my Russian friend, like because I'm friends with him and we go out drinking and shit and hanging out. Actually, he's supposed to sell me his iPhone for a good price because I need another phone. Now if it was somebody he knew, then I would tell you to go talk to that person. But like you just show like see these cultures don't do that. These cultures don't just go out and they're not inviting to new motherfuckers. All right, like regardless of what they'll try to tell you on these tourist channels and all that bullshit, these motherfuckers are not that welcoming like that. All right. Now I'm not saying they're gonna rob you or kill you, but they're not like that. It's not like in Western countries where you just talk to people and hey, you need help. Out here, these motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Like, they just ignore you and keep walking. Because that's what communism fuck around and do to some of these, a lot of these motherfuckers out here. But, you know, it, life is a learning experience, man, honestly. It's a learning experience. I wouldn't, I still, if you want to do it, I'd tell you to try anyway. But, I'd tell you to try. But I would say don't pay attention to motherfuckers on Reddit. Um, Cause I looked at some of them rooms and them motherfuckers are wild, dude. Like, don't Reddit is about the last place I would tell anybody to go. Okay, here's the thing. What I would tell you to do on Reddit is this: if you want to go in like social media in any kind of way and look up the realities of this shit, go find everybody who was downvoted to hell. That's usually going to be the person who's actually lived in these places. All right. Anybody who's going to get like massively upvoted and liked and loved are usually people who are just feeding a dream that they know other people want to hear of the place. Go in there and find motherfuckers who are like downvoted like, you know, like 500 times. And that is probably the real experience. That's probably going to be the real one. Yeah, RBT, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll open it up. Thanks for the dollar. Thanks, Eric, for the $3. Appreciate it. What do you think is the difference between Russian and Ukrainian women? Well, I think because there's a bunch of there's Ukrainians go to my son's school and there's Ukrainians live on the street. Um, these two are just different mentality from my experiences. Um, and I would say it's a pretty similar, but different in its own way from the differences between like American women and I'm trying to think of like a up and coming like but still clearly there's not many English countries that are like just struggling in that same comparison. Um, if I had to pick, I would definitely pick a Ukrainian woman over a Russian woman, and just by just the generalization of it, I would 100% pick a Ukrainian woman over a Russian woman any day of the week, any day of the week. I will put honestly in my experiences, um, and from actually being friends with Russians and living with Russians. Um, and again, it's only my limited experience because this is only relatively a handful compared to an entire country of people. But from my experiences, I would still 100% pick a Ukrainian woman over a Russian woman without second guessing it. I would put Russian women down I would put Russian women if it wasn't for them just being white and having an attention to detail how they dress, they would be considered as low as black women. They would be, and I hate to say that, but it's just how the world is. They would be down in that world. The only thing that keeps them out of that is that they're white and they have attention to detail in how they dress. If it wasn't for that, if everybody just removed color and they was just strictly mentality, they would be right down there with African American women. Either they're going to be like great or just completely terrible for like one reason or another. You know what I mean? There's not, and if she's great, they're going to be snatched off the market super fast. They'll never be single a day in their life. You know, I would put them about down there. Um, will be the best time to visit Prague? In my opinion, I think the best time to visit Prague is like now when it's colder. Because when it just gets hot, they don't do air conditioning like that, and I don't like to be outside in the hot. So like I would tell you to travel here like now, like in the wintertime, because if you get on a tram or any like they're gonna have heat everywhere, but air conditioning, you gonna have a problem finding air conditioning in the summertime. And people always want to travel in the summertime, and I don't get that. Like I would prefer to travel when it's cold because like I said, once you leave these Western countries, and pretty much once you leave North America, finding consistent air conditioning is not a common trait. I still remember one time I was watching this video game reviewer. He's one of my favorite video game reviewers, actually, on IGN. I think his name's like Luke or something like that. It might have been him or it might have been another one, but he's Australian. And because he always reviews car games, because I like car video game with the simulators, uh, like a set of Corsa, these kind. And so he always reviews these games, but they come out so rare he doesn't do a lot of them because he's in the cars too. So and he's reliable. But he said something one time. I think it was him or maybe it was someone else. But he said, yeah, in Australia, we're just sitting on the couch and it's like 40 degrees Celsius, which is like 110 degrees Fahrenheit. No air conditioning. They just sit in the house, just sitting there. It's 100 degrees. We just sitting here. Just, oh yeah, mate. We was sitting there and it was 40 degrees, mate, and it was it was just so hot. Like, how do you just sit there at 100 degrees Fahrenheit? You just sitting there, just sweating. In America, you look. I be trying to tell my child's mother, like, look, in America, if it was that hot in a building in America, they would just close the building down. Cause see, that's when America. And I'm not gonna go on this rant like that. This is when like. I'm not gonna go on this rant for long, but that's when America does great with it. You can sue everybody for everything, right? Because if somebody fuck around and have a heat stroke in there, they gonna get sued. So that enforces, basic human comforts in America. But here, I'm gonna tell this story too, because this girl in my class yesterday, we were talking. She's a Czech girl. And this goes into healthcare in Czech Republic. See, these are the things that people on the internet don't talk when they're like, oh, Europe has free healthcare. Oh, well, Americans don't have free healthcare, right? So these stories are the stories that the world they don't spread this part of free healthcare, right? And I'm just gonna tell this one story. I'm gonna get off the topic because I'm not gonna rant about Europe all night or America. But so we met right before class started, and I was talking to her, and she said she was mad because she had to go to the hospital, and she tells me the whole story. She goes, yeah, I went to the hospital. They already have my file, and they know my condition, and they know everything. Beautiful girl, because they already know my condition and everything. So I sit in the waiting room for 3 hours, right? She had an appointment, but she still sat in the waiting room for 3 hours, right? Then when she gets back there, her doctor wasn't there. So some other doctor came out. It was a woman, and the woman yelled at her, telling her what to move here, take off her clothes, this, do that, and only seen her for actually 3 to 5 minutes, and then just kicked her out and told her she didn't know what to do with her. Just kicked her out. And she said she was so mad she tried to file a complaint, but she knows they're not going to do anything because, again, this is the consequence of free healthcare. They're not going to do anything because they'll just hide in their Czech language. Nobody's going to tell anybody, and it'll just be forgotten. And that was it. See, these are the stories that people don't talk about, because most people who are on these Reddit groups and all that stuff, they don't see. There's many reasons why the world doesn't know this, right? And this is one issue. And I said I'm not going to rant too long, but I swear this is going to be the last part. America is already doing so. America is so well off that we don't. When we talk about our country, we don't feel the desperate need to hide the fucked up parts about our country, right? Because the country's doing fucking great compared to the rest of the world, right? So like it's not like we don't have to compulsively be ashamed of our healthcare system and this and that. Whereas most of the rest of the world is already in shambles. Like they literally can't protect themselves. They're many little issues, right? So they compulsively withhold this shit because it's they're trying to keep it a secret because they're ashamed of it. See, and this is the weird dynamic because the Americans think they're ashamed to be an American, but they're really not. Not in the slightest, but they think they are. They like to say it just to sound, edgy, but they're really not. But like the rest of the world, they'll be ashamed of their country. So if you hit these chat rooms and stuff like that, see, they usually don't like talking about this because see, like they associate their identity to their country. So it's like if my country's poor, and that's like saying I'm poor, and I don't want to have to say I'm poor. So you can't say I'm poor, and if you say I'm poor, then you're being mean, right? Americans really don't understand, and I think Europeans really don't truly see how they handle this, right? On average, when you get, especially when you get on like social media, I don't think they really fully see that, can see outside of that bubble of it. But that's it. I'm not going to talk about Europe and America all night. What's up, Simon Lewis? Oh no, he's still in school, man. He's three. He's three. He's not in kindergarten. What was your experience like a black man interacting with Czech families? Did you feel isolated? Oh well, here's now to be honest. I didn't feel isolated so much that I was a black man in families. I felt more isolated because when I was with my ex-wife, I spoke literally no Czech at all, like absolutely none. And I knew a group of expats from the UK and America, and we would all share the same stories. Like when it comes like Christmas time or like a holiday, and you're all and like the whole family is sitting at the dinner table, and like we're just staring at the wall because we can't understand anything anybody's saying. You know what I mean? Like, when I was with my ex-wife, I never felt like they did anything weird or awkward because I was black. I never felt that out of them, to be honest. Um, I never felt like I said, if anything, it was more the language. It was the language barrier that I think was definitely because, like with the expats, most of the expats are going to be white. They were all, you're not going to find many African Americans. Out of my whole time here, I met one African American, no, two African American guys, and I've been here 10 years. So you're usually going to be white, mostly. But we all have the same. And I remember there was one girl. Her name was Rachel. She had a kid with a Czech guy. And there's a white girl. There's an American girl down the street. She's from Detroit, actually. She lives down the street from me, and I just don't write her at all. But we all have the same stories. When it's holidays and everybody's sitting at the dinner table and they're eating their Czech food and shit like that, and they're talking to each other in Czech. Especially if you're living outside of this outside the city where nobody speaks English, they can't talk to you. So it's like you just sit at the table, just like staring off into nothingness, or just like talking in Czech. Uh, but I actually miss my ex-mother, my ex-mother-in-law. I really do miss her. She was really talented. Her daughter wasn't, but she was. She was very talented. Cause she went to school for art, when you hear that, it's like, oh God, like, and that was my first reaction. Like, oh shit, she's a fucking idiot, you know. But I remember I told these stories a while back because when I came there, it was around Christmas time, and she kept because they lived like literally like next door, so she kept coming over and bringing cookies, right? And they looked like expert, they looked perfect. And I remember I finally asked my ex-wife. I said, "Look, how much money is she spending on this? Because she's got to be buying this from the store because the cookies look too good." And she goes, "Oh no, she makes them. She makes those cookies." I'm like, "What? She's making cookies that look this good in that kitchen that she has? I mean, it was not a good. It was not a great kitchen. You know what I mean?" Uh, um, so that was when I first started getting wind that she was not an idiot. The second time I got wind that she was not an idiot, it was a mixture of two. Um, One time it was Easter. Easter was coming up, and she brought over she would come down. We would all hang out at the table, at the dinner table, and she brought a bunch of hard boiled eggs, a paintbrush, and some paints. Right? She was gonna paint the eggs, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh God, this is gonna look terrible." This woman picked up an egg and just like drew it, and it was like absolute perfection. Like you know how they show guys when they draw like a perfect circle. You know what I mean? Like on a stone wall, the motherfuckers just be like, that's what she was doing on eggs, dude. She was just like, as if it was nothing. And it looked like something that was like printed on there. Like, how the fuck did she do that? And it wouldn't be like she'd just be talking in a conversation, she'd be like, and I mean, she wasn't tracing or nothing. Like, like Jesus Christ. I remember I liked one egg so much I kept it in my dresser. Right, that's how good it was. Right, and the last straw, where I was like, okay, I think I married the wrong woman, was she. This was right around the same time. Because I kept hearing that she was singing in a choir. She was singing in a choir, and she even went to the UK, and they had to save up for like 2 or 3 years for the trip. You know what I mean? But she would go to the UK and sing. And I'm thinking like, oh, like she's probably just some old loser that, you know what I mean, some old loser that's like just trying to start singing or something like that. And she came and brought a CD and she wanted me to listen to the CD. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, man. I threw that shit somewhere. Like I ain't gonna waste my time with that shit. And I fucked around like 3 or 4 months later, man. I was just bored and I put that shit in. That shit was amazing. Like, amazing. That was like, it was the real deal. You know what I mean? It was classical shit. They were in a choir. So then I went and I had my ex, because I couldn't speak any Czech at the time. So I had to ask my ex, like, yo, I said, how did you, where are you singing? What are you doing? I was so impressed. I wanted to go see Hans Zimmer was coming to Prague, and I wanted to take her to go see Hans Zimmer. After I heard her singing like that, I was gonna pay for all of our tickets to go see Hans Zimmer, the guy who does those movies and shit like that, the movie soundtrack dude. Like, and I think he did Interstellar. He came to Prague to perform. This was like 2017, I think, and I wanted to pay for all. I was so impressed by her in doing that, but she was really impressive, and her daughter got none of those skills. Her daughter was just like, just an uneducated girl clinging to her last, hopes of living in Prague. Like her daughter had none of the cooking. I learned how to cook from that woman. Her kitchen was just a regular ass stove, nothing special. She didn't have any, luxurious shit in there. And she would cook you like anything, man. Like she would cook. That's why she cooked pigeons. I had never ate a pigeon. She would just cook. She'd make anything in that motherfucker. She did cookies, bread, fried mushrooms, anything, and it would be amazing shit. She would go in there with a stick and some butter and come out with a whole meal, right? So when we would go over there, I would just watch her while she cooked. Because she'd be at the stove, and I would literally just watch what she was doing. And that's how I learned how to cook. That's when my cooking game went up a lot from her, from just watching her and just watch how she just kind of had an instinct and like, don't worry about following instructions. Just feel it. Just, feel it out in what you're doing and think about what you was doing, and adapt, and that's where I learned a lot of how to cook was from her, actually. And I learned a lot of other little tricks from my child's mother because she knows how to cook some stuff too. But my ex mother-in-law, she was a real deal. She was the real deal with that art shit. That woman was the real deal, 100%. I still want to go out there and talk to her, but that means I had to talk to my ex-wife, and I ain't about to do that. Maybe I bump into her like on the street, in the street or something, if I get lucky. I ain't getting ready to go over there with her. It sounds like you had a better relationship with your mother-in-law compared to, yeah. Yeah, you married the wrong woman. Oh man, like my ex-wife couldn't cook, and it was just she got none of the skills for the city and none of the skills for the village. Like she gained no skill from either walk of life. Like she was like the worst possible. Like just the worst. Like it was like the worst outcome. She didn't know how to drive. I give her that. She learned how to drive. Her mother never learned how to drive. I don't think she ever learned how to drive. Now my ex-wife, she didn't know how to drive, But after that, that was pretty much where it stopped. There was no street smarts and none of that. Nothing. She fell into in a similar boat as my child's mother, man. Like her ultimate goal is to never ever put anything into life and hope that somebody is just gonna come and just magically give her something for life. You know what I mean? Like and it can work when they're 20, but as they start to age, it falls apart. And everybody knows, and even they start to know it, but they get ashamed about it because they know everybody knows, and they double down on it because they don't want to have to admit they're wrong. And that's how they end up, being that woman taking quarters at the bathroom to pay for the bathroom, or sweeping floors in the grocery store. That's how you see. That's how you come across them old women that be in there doing that. Let me go to this live stream request before I forget. Here it is. Woman swings at. I don't know what this is. I can't see the rest of it. Okay. Oh shit, I'm in the wrong. I'm tripping.
Are you?
Let me make sure I didn't miss a comment. Hang on. So basically, it sounds like Russian women tend to be too aggressive and masculine, much like black. I wouldn't say aggressive. Now, it's a weird, it's a really weird dynamic. It really is. I wouldn't say aggressive, but definitely like I don't want to say the best word I can think of now is overcorrecting. Like not quite naggy, but just like okay. So you remember what was it? What comedian was that? I can remember the skit where he talked about the difference between white women. I think was it Richard Pryor. He said like white women won't yell at you, but they'll just constantly like just this nitpick you until you kill the whole family kind of thing. Like they'll go, dear, you shouldn't do that. And they'll just constantly keep doing that. Oh dear, that's not right. Oh dear, you shouldn't do that. And be do it in public to the point where the man just explodes, kind of thing. And then the man's just crazy, right? Russian women are like that, but it's not like this. It's like, no, you need to do da 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 da. Right? Like, I mean, like it's like it's hard to explain from my experiences. Again, from my experiences, it's hard to explain. But yeah, they're in the same boat as like they're the perfect mixture of like they're the perfect mixture of a white woman and a black woman in America. Like they're not loud. They're not gonna be like loud, and they still have that polish of white woman, but they kind of overstep their boundaries on like on an interpersonal dominant level. They consistently do that shit. Now Ukrainian women are almost more like Czech women. Where they can be, but you still have that situation where like either many of them will just either just become doctors or they'll just live off completely off a man. You still do have that same dynamic, but I've never known Ukrainian women to do that. They're definitely and here's the thing. I will give Russian and Ukrainian women these good notes is that being directness. Now American women end up being so much of airheads that they literally like American women on average are just usually very unintelligent, like, extremely unintelligent. Now, the Soviet women, these kind of women, when it comes to talking, they know realities like this red pill shit, all this shit. Like they know, like and they're not hiding it. Okay, you know, what they're going after, what they like, what they used to like, what they think likes them. Like they'll still have a much better sense, but they're always calculating and measuring worth and value. For example, I said the girl that I met when I went to Kiev, she was teaching me Russian. She was Ukraine. I was in Ukraine. She was Ukrainian, but she was teaching me Russian, and and we met in this like fruit smoothie restaurant, and we were talking about dating because she used to be a model. She's tall, all that, and she used to be a model, and we were talking some kind of way we got to talk about dating, and and she just flat out told me, she goes, well, yeah, I'm going on 30, you know, no rich man's gonna want me. Like she just casually says it as if it's, you know, talking about chicken nuggets and, you know, at Wendy's kind of thing. Like she just knew it. And then she was even saying, you know, when she was 20, all it took was a guy just be hot to work at a fruit stand, and she just loved him. But at, you know, she's going on 30, she don't want that same, just being a hot dude working at a, you know, at a grocery store is nowhere near enough. You know, like these cultures are far more Western women are typically so dumb that they'll just follow they'll follow anything that any other woman says and not even know what they're actually saying. Now, that mentality of woman cannot survive in amongst Soviet women, ex-Soviet women, anything out east from here and east. Like I still remember there was a clip where Nicki Minaj was talking about she was in Prague and she was standing next to the airplane because she was running away from Prague, pretty much. You see, that mentality cannot that dense, clogged mentality cannot survive out here because they will immediately be laughed at. You know how many times I'll go on, like, the rare times I do go on Facebook now, but you can always, like, everybody always knows when an American woman enters those Prague expat groups, because there's always, every now and then, there's like a 20-year-old, 25-year-old woman who comes in there and says, hey, I'm coming to Prague. If anybody wants the opportunity to hang out with me, like, I'm free. And they'll get laughed out. They'll just get laughed out the group. Like, everybody will laugh, and everybody knows she's American. The Westerner, like Western, unless the Western woman grew up with relatives over here or something like that, so they know what to expect. They get over here and they do not last long. They don't last long at all. They do, for one reason or another. Most of the time they're just not pretty enough, or if they're not pretty enough, they have no sense of street smarts that they thought. What was that bitch name? Blue Cantrell, Blue Ivy, or some shit. I think it was Blue Ivy. She thought she was making street moves and money moves in North America. Like, no, you were not. Okay, guys want to fuck you, and you thought you were making street moves. Okay, she could not come over here and do half of that because she would have to compete with sexy bitches from Romania, sexy bitches from Slovakia, sexy Czech bitches, sexy French bitches, sexy was it Denmark bitches. She had to compete with all of that, and then on top of that, them sexy bitches from Romania, Czech, Denmark, French, all them sexy bitches are speaking 3 and 4 languages. On top of having a baseline of basic hygiene and sexuality and marketing themselves. It's not an event. See, for American women, these are events. Taking a bath and brushing her hair, that's an event for an American woman. That's a reason to celebrate. She needs to be taken out to eat because she brushed her hair. See, over here, no, you don't walk out the house until you do that out here, right? I mean, there's gonna be fucked up bitches everywhere you go, but they know what it is. Okay, America's so distorted. American women are so dumb, like they don't even fully realize how pathetic and dumb they are. And I don't mean that to be mean. It's just look. You could probably even ask Chat GPT. Look at how women just general maintenance care, you know, that is considered the norm. The difference between European women and American women. Like just look at that. The differences. Ask Chat GPT. Don't take my word for it. And sure, female nature never goes away. It's just other countries keep it in check. Yeah, yeah, it never goes away. Other countries for like, so let's say for example, like a continent like Europe, what keeps them in check is that they're always, because this Erasmus. Let's just sum it up. Erasmus is going to be fundamentally the backbone of what keeps that in check. So for most people, so I didn't know what Erasmus was, so I came here. What Erasmus is college students will sign up for a program. I don't even know if it's a program, but I know that when they're in college, they can travel to other countries and study in that country for a semester or something like that, and go to another country and study in that university for a semester. But you got to get in that I think it's a program, like an Erasmus thing. So you always have 20-year-olds, a fresh batch of foreign 20-year-olds on top of the 20-year-olds in the city, on top of the 20-year-olds who's moving from a village to a city to keep up. Look, that that's keeping the women in check. So okay, because once you live here and you okay, let's say, and this is why I'm curious about with Charlie Sheen or like Leonardo DiCaprio. I want to sit down and eat a bowl of lentils with Leonardo DiCaprio. You mean just a casual, just a poor man's dinner and have a conversation with him about it. I love lentils, by the way, but I want to sit down and because with me living in Prague, like I always see model quality women every day. Every day you're gonna see at least five model quality women when you walk outside, going to the grocery store, you getting off and on the trams, going to the mall, whatever. Like I see the model quality that you're seeing back in America that's on these like clothing ads and all this. This is where they originate from. Right, so I see what's the Clara Delevingn's or whatever the bitch name did the Suicide Squad. Like I probably walked past her 10 times and didn't even know it. Okay, that's normal out here. Right, so when you have that level of competition, one, the guys just don't care as much because I'm used to seeing you. Like this is not something memorable anymore, just to see you now. And then two, now the women have to step it up to still be seen. Right? They have to they have to adapt and grow and put more effort in to be seen. Right? Because that traffic, that foreign traffic is constantly floating in and out. Right? Now in America, since in America you're not going to have that traffic floating in and out. You're just sitting there with the same shit that's been there the last fucking 50 years. Right? By the time a woman actually puts the slightest bit of effort in, she's a goddess now. Right. They've gotten lazy, dumb, and fat. But that's what happens with stagnation. America does great with many other things, but when it comes to interpersonal relationships, that's where America is completely stagnant. There's been very little growth, very little development. Everything's fake or everything's lazy. Now when it comes to interpersonal development out here, you can definitely have more dynamics and adapt and move and blah blah blah. Yeah. Start this video before I forget.
Single.
Yes, I'm single.
Why?
I'm an intelligent person.
What kind of shit is that?
Oh my! You definitely have to explain that. But how does that relate?
I'm single. You want to know why I'm single?
Yeah, why are you single?
I think it's hard to find a partner when I have such a concrete perception of how I want to live my life, and it's hard to find a person to collaborate with me to help that manifest.
The fuck is he talking about?
Let me translate that. I'm unbearable, unlikable, masculine, etc., 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 etc. I don't know how to get along with men. I probably talk to men crazy. Look, I can go on and on. She can't keep a man to save her fucking life. The dumb chickenese translation to that. That 1983 outfit is really ticking me off. And that bad weave, it's really ticking me off. But I'm going to try to make it through this.
So you kind of want a man to fit into your program, in a nutshell. That's why it's really hard.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, we don't want to get back to that. Yeah, we don't want to fit
Maybe.
in your status.
I mean, I got to see something better though. Like maybe I could switch the program, but I have to see something better. And the majority of the time, the average man doesn't show me better than what I can do for myself.
It's because you don't qualify for the man who could show you better. The men you attract are never going to show you better. Men who could show you 10 times better than what you're doing for yourself would never pick you. They wouldn't have a conversation with you. They would actually pay more in taxes to not have to go to the same grocery store as you.
You ain't lying.
That's true.
How many first dates do you
I
go?
don't date.
You don't date?
Yeah, not right now.
Cobwebs.
Okay.
It's not cobwebs, but I don't. Yeah.
You-
I
you don't-
date.
you don't-
I was in a relationship for a long time.
What's a long time?
9 years.
Mm.
Yeah.
Ooh,
How smart was that guy?
Off and on.
Off and on. Okay, that sounds tumultuous.
Yeah, it was tumultuous.
What happened?
I took a lot of accountability.
We'll see.
We just didn't work out. He was younger than me too. I will give
much
him grace
younger?
for that. 6 years younger than me.
He was 6 years younger than you?
Yeah.
God, you're sick.
And how old was he at the time? At
He
the vet?
was like 24 at the time,
He was 24.
and I was late 20s.
I'm no mathematician, but I'm pretty sure if a guy is 24, it's impossible for you to be in your late 20s and be 6 years older. Hey, but maybe my math is off. Maybe I'm slow. Maybe it's the weave on their head that hinders them helpless when it comes to telling the truth.
He had better qualities as a younger person than I saw in my peers at the time. Yeah, by the time he got to a point that I felt like he should have been at, he wasn't there. Like, he didn't meet that mark.
Okay.
And I realized it wasn't about his age. This is just the type of person he is.
Right, that happens. Yeah, some
Yeah.
people are just not ambitious.
Yeah, and it took me a really long time to figure that out.
Were you trying to
It took a
build
lot
it
of
there?
time. I wasn't trying to build because he was already at a point. He was already at a point.
What does that mean?
He fit where he was accomplished to be a young person, but then he hit a cap and just didn't do anything after that.
Can't get it all, baby. God, man. That's the problem. Y'all want it all.
That's not all.
That is.
Chocolate sisters make you feel like you have to forever be making tens of thousands more every year for them to stay with you. And that's why a lot of brothers not dating chocolate sisters no more. They
Yeah.
just staying single or dating out.
Yeah, and I don't really want to be mean about it, man. But like, it's really a sad it's really a sad situation. And I don't know of course the intricacies of her situation, but okay. She's not as pretty as she thinks she is. Let's just go ahead and just say that right off the bat. She's not as attractive. Physically speaking, she's not as attractive as she thinks she is. I mean, of course, you use her for sex because she just has, some nice legs and a tight pair of pants. She appears to be clean, but she's not as pretty as she thinks she is. So, it's really a sad situation. And so many women end up like her, where she figures because, she probably does have some, some nice curves at certain angles with wearing tight pants and she probably stared at herself in the mirror with the tight pants on and smiled in the mirror, looking back at herself, thinking she was, something. But by the time a man is going to be ambitious and go out there and start making real moves, okay, she's not gonna make that cut. She's just not in that league. Okay. Period. She's just not there. She's not gonna make that cut. Okay. Now let's say like a Melania Trump type, like a Halle Berry type, or I'm trying. There's one after this dark black African girl I knew when I was in college. She was one of them types. Like this by the time a man earns, like, I'd say, well, I don't know where inflation is in America now. I don't know where average wages are. I haven't lived there in so long now. But back when I was there, I would say by the time a man starts making 50, 60,000, he'd be better off kicking that to the curb. Just it's not even worth it. Just go. That woman just from the little bit that I've seen of her talk and just her demeanor and all this stuff like that, she's worth about 30,000 a year, about 30K. I'd say 30 to 40K a year. After that, once a man starts earning more than that, she better hold on for dear life. And she's older too. She's like 30. No, actually, because I was talking about the girl earlier that the friend of mine knew, because I met her a year or two ago, and she was like 26, 26. So here's the thing: when I was with my friend, the Russian friend who just got the muscles, he was in Brussels, and he showed me the pictures of the muscles and at that little cafe. I don't know if maybe somebody showed up late. I'll show you the pictures. It had cheese all on it. I didn't even know you could put cheese on muscles like that. We were just talking about his friend. He just sent me another. He sent me a video. I guess that's in his flat. Okay. Yeah, he was out there. Yeah, he was out and he was just sending me. I can't even see this shit. He was sending me pictures out. He was out in Belgium this last week. I'm like, that's a picture of him. I ain't gonna put him on the internet. He was out there, and so he knows this girl. Girl's beautiful. Okay, I think she's Kazakhstan or something like that, but she's beautiful. And we all talked about it. Like they're white, but the white people will never ever accept them as white. Like they know. Like we talk about this shit. Like he said. Like when he asked white people, do they think he's white? They say no. Right, like the white community, like the white community does not accept like Russians and Kazakhstans and Uzbekistan and motherfucker. They don't accept them as white. Like they're not accepted. Like it is just really fucked up. We talk about it and laugh at it over beers, but he has this female friend who I think is completely beautiful, and she's ambitious. She has a real job. She dresses up very professionally, and we talked about some raunchy shit the first night I met her, and I forget what it was, but I said some off the wall shit, but it was like super raunchy, but it went over well, so we everything was cool. But we was talking, it was about last week, and I said, how old is that girl? And she got to be about 28, 29. I said, oh man, like that's a gamble, because she's getting old. she gets, and this girl's beautiful. I said, she's getting old. She's getting up there. And I told him, and I wanted to be very clear about this, especially with living in Prague. I was telling the guy, the Russian friend, like I completely understand why men do not want to date women over 30, especially in a setting like Prague, because that pressure that is on women to keep up with the younger girls that keep coming out is so high that when they start approaching 28, 29, 30, they mentally start to degrade really bad, like really bad. And it's just really not worth the hassle it's not worth keeping around. Like, but I was being very clear, like for me, personally, I don't have a problem with women who look older. I think gray hair can be hot on women. I don't have a problem with physically looking older women. Like I don't have a problem with, I don't be like, 90 years old, and then it's just too old at that point. But like, I don't have a problem with women who look like they're clearly 40, 50, maybe even 60, as long as they just have some sense of like care about themselves. They didn't let their bodies go, and they have some intelligence in them. They have the sense of awareness of reality and can laugh and joke. As long as they maintain that, I don't have a problem with that. So it's not about just wanting a 20-year-old woman's body. It's more about getting a woman's whose brain did not degenerate due to the competition of turning 30 and over. So I say I don't even know if I would even date his friend, because she's getting up there in age. And like again, and I don't mean that in a mean way. It's that because there's a good chance she's going to start she's going to start degenerating mentally. I've seen it happen too many times now, where I just don't even want it. Now back to this woman. If you put this girl I'm just talking about now and her next to this woman would not even make the cut. This woman, the only way she could survive like in this environment is mostly because they would look at her as a Pokemon, because she's a black girl, and guys just want to have sex with a black girl. But like, even in America, like, by the time a man were to go get a passport, and by the time he had the means of traveling, he's going to throw her in a dumpster. Actually, I got another great example. The friend of mine, I think I told you guys about him a while back. He has a doctorate in political science, so we would talk about politics a lot. And the same exact thing happened to him. He told me because he's married to a Czech girl up the street. She's beautiful, but I'm in love with her. I think she's gorgeous. He told me when he met her, what happened. He was bouncing back and forth from America to over here at the time, and he had a girlfriend in North America, and his girlfriend, but at the same time he had just met. I'll say her name's Alishka. Alishka's a very common name. He met Alishka here, And he said, and Alicia, she was just cool, chilling, whatever. And I think Alicia's beautiful. And um, and he said the American woman started, being like this, being a fucking cunt, just and the American woman like said she wanted to break up, and he was like, okay, cool, because he had Alicia here, and he ended up marrying Alicia. But the moral of the story is, look, by the time a man, see the dilemma that especially these American women, especially one like this, faces is that, look, she's not as pretty as she thinks she is. Let's just be 100% blunt and honest about it. Okay, her attitude is not adding any extra points to it. If anything, it's going to take her down a few, at minimum half a point, at minimum. So by the time a man were to become ambitious in any way, especially if you're talking about a man that every woman wants, is a man who can travel, can speak different languages, has international connections, these kind of things. Look, she doesn't even make the radar. She's gonna get swiped left on Tinder over here. I will swipe left on that if she gets to, and then on top of it, if I see in her credentials that she has no university education and she likes to drink wine and watch TV, she don't get swiped left on like that. Because over here we're used to seeing physically healthy women, so that's not gonna play in her favor in the rest of the world. You know what I mean? Like I would, if I was on online dating and I seen her. I'm not gonna lie, I would give her a little bit of attention just because she's a black girl. I'd be like, and she's healthy, But I guarantee she probably doesn't have a college degree, there'd be a good chance she would have a hard time over here. Okay, again, she would have there's a large population of people who just want to have sex with a black girl, right? Because black people are rare over here, especially like African Americans. These kind of things are rare, so like she could probably get in that community, but she would only be used because she's essentially a Pokemon over here. But yeah, Biscuit Oliver, dude, I've been so busy, man. Biscuit Oliver, I replied to an email I think yesterday or day before yesterday, so my bad if I missed it, man, because this is the last week. Actually, my semester ends Friday as I'm working on the second master's degree now. I'm the second master's degree now. I've been so busy, man. I haven't been able to keep up with anything. Anything. So yeah, sorry I missed. I'm sure I did.
Because a man shouldn't feel like he have to just keep making 30,000 more every year for the rest of his life. That's ridiculous. Subscribe and hit the bell. It really helps the channel grow. Like and comment as well. Thank you.
So you're asking for a man that's making pretty much double the average salary?
Yeah. Man, get the fuck out of here, nigga!
Okay, good enough. Are there any superficial things that you like?
Superficial things that, no, I mean.
So you would date a guy
I'm
5'5"?
really, if he's 5'5" and he's a gangster, yeah, I would date him.
What does that mean?
Yeah.
Gangster? What is
Like he is who he says he is. He is a proud person. He has integrity. He is loyal. People respect him. I would date somebody who's 5'5".
I mean, outside of the money, which is I find to be wildly unreasonable. No, really.
Some like black men are earning.
There are some men that are making that, right? But that's exceptional.
There are black men that are earning.
Right.
Yeah.
What percentage of black men are earning? That's probably, I would say that's definitely top 20%, lower than at least like top 15, at least top 15%.
People are engineers.
No, we get it.
Like,
I understand all that.
My daughter's in school right now, in pre-med for medical, so she's gonna go into that. It's not
that's
not like unfathomable to me.
I mean, yeah, they exist. We're not saying those men don't exist. We're just saying they can get a higher quality of woman. Your weave ain't even fixed right enough for them to have anything to do with you. You know what? I ain't trying to roast. Let's just continue.
No, it's not unfathomable, but you have to be extremely intentional about it. Right now, you're not even willing to date, right? And the clock is ticking. And then
what clock is ticking? Whose clock? Like, what clock is it?
Mel's clock. The clock biological clock. Meaning
what biological clock? I have my child that I love, and I never want to reproduce again. What's the clock?
So you don't wait. So then you're not even trying to offer children. You could go ahead and get them. So let me jump in this. So
wait. You said try to offer children. Do you understand? I know we're not getting into politics. I understand we're not getting into politics.
That's a children's
but do you understand? But this is in regard to children. Do you understand what's happening in our country? Smart people would not be having children right now.
You're supposing dumb motherfucker.
You know what I mean? Like kids are all out of control. Everybody's on welfare. It's a bunch of kids in the foster system. Why would you bring more in there for some man's ego?
Got it. So
you got to be human. Sometimes I feel like black men aren't being human.
What?
What are you talking about?
I liked my younger person. I like the.
Yeah, but you can't do that anymore.
Yes, I can. I can date another early 30s man. Yes, I can. Is that actually right? I can tell. I can show you how much I can date 3.
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, so just because you have access to men doesn't necessarily mean that they would want to be with you forever, right? So I think that's.
Why would you think that I want to be with men forever? I think it's hard for men. Like now, I'm sitting here. You really. It's not that you're being delusional. It's really. It's really hard for you to conceptualize that there's some women who do not put you at the forefront.
Well, that's totally fine. I have no issue with that.
That's cool. Like,
That's me.
but no man who you're gonna respect is gonna accept you not putting him at the forefront. Oh, who says I want to be with a man forever? So you want to spend your life alone? Nobody believes you. I can't stand when they try to convince the world that I'm okay just completely being alone for the next 40 and 50 years as a woman. Nobody believes you.
Have you ever wanted to believe in something, even though you knew it couldn't be true?
Conceptualize that there's some women who do not put you at the forefront, who think that men are baggage, who think that men are like stunters of manifestation. Like I can't achieve the things I want with this male energy around. It's stale, and I feel like that's something that y'all really try to not y'all. I'm sorry. Some men really try to convince themselves that women don't put men at the forefront.
So I realize that there's some
Life
like that.
is so exciting. Like life is exciting when you have resources, and this is for men and women. When you have resources, it doesn't matter. You're not sitting looking for a love a life partner.
Oh, life is so exciting when you have money. Actually, everything gets boring after a while. I mean, even a relationship, but I'm making a bigger point here. After you done been on so many private jets and went to so many exclusive parties and ate at so many 5-star restaurants, it gets old.
It's picking up. The wheels is turning in a lot of girls. A lot of young women too. Like you see this new movement. I think young women are even more hostile to me. Like,
First of all, you're not gonna speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
but I think it is a mentality that is growing immensely amongst women all across the board to decenter men and understand that they are not.
This is hysterical, man.
Yeah,
I want you to keep going.
I'll just have one more thing to say. Do you not think that this is going to be a detriment to
No, men have to evolve.
Forget the nuclear
No,
family. That you have
men
to
have to evolve.
community,
How are you going to do it?
society as a
No,
whole.
I don't. Men have to evolve. How are you going to do it? If you guys have to evolve because you don't procreate and no one reproduces with you, and then
You're not a highly evolved being. That's very clear to anybody with half a brain. This whole thing like, men gotta evolve to get on our level. Are you kidding me?
And she said she's a vet, right?
I am. I'm a problem. I promise you, I'm ungovernable. It's over for you.
And that's exactly what a man of value wants. She's exactly what a man of value wants, an ungovernable woman. Yeah, she's, oh my God. Like there's gonna be a line around the corner of men waiting for that.
Once they fail in the dating market, all they got is false bravado and tough talk. That's all they got. I'm ungovernable, my defenses are impregnable. Some Mike Tyson-ish.
I want to say this though. You
How much money do you earn?
I don't know. I'm into it. I don't know a lot of money.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I've been with lawyers. I've been with doctors.
Okay.
I've been with white men.
I beg your pardon. You been?
Yeah,
oh my God! She reached the top of the mountain. She's been a white man. Oh my God!
She just said that like that was her biggest accomplishment. Not degrees, not this, not that. I've even dated a white man, a glorious, glorious white man. Dating, high-end men but never maintaining them is not something to brag about.
Yeah, and that is exactly okay. Yeah, dating. Okay, let's be more clear. Let's be a little more direct. Getting fucked by a man who's accomplished that's nothing to brag about. And women's existence in these worlds is like so sad because the social benchmarks for women is really it can be a very sad culture, right? Because in her mind, okay, and definitely not everyone, because there are some intelligent women out there, but intelligent women just don't even. She would never hang out with intelligent women because the intelligent women wouldn't hang out with her. They do exist, but they're all studying something or doing something for real. But this is that situation where like when they show like old dudes in the gym, right? And they be like, trying to like bench press like 1,000 pounds, but they don't even get the bar off the fucking machine. They just like barely get it up off that, and they think that they're bench pressing 1,000 pounds, kind of thing. Like, because in their mind they're still doing what they did when they were like 20, which they probably never even really did it at 20. But it's kind of a similar situation, you know, like. It's really even worse because like as a woman, like, see, God, how do I even explain it? Because it's really bad when women end up like this. And the thing is, like, every woman does have this part in her, okay, where most men will eventually grow out of it. Okay, it would be the equivalent like saying like a man, okay, a man who's like, you know, 50 years old with a beer belly, he's going on saying okay, but when he was like, you know, maybe 30 or something like that, he was fucking like beautiful bitches. Like in his mind, he still thinks he can fuck beautiful bitches, but he's completely morphed into something else mentally or physically at 50, right? He still thinks that. Like, see, it's very clear to see when guys become that delusional, but like women, especially if the woman can like kind of maintain her youth on some level, like it in a weird way, even to the woman, it becomes more believable that like that's her actual lifestyle because she had sex like one time with a dude who was supposedly a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, or like if she had sex with, let's just use Donald Trump as an example, like if she had sex with Donald Trump when she was 22 because she was just a young girl with a young girl's body, she thinks that she's actually mentally at the level to stay in and contend with guys on Donald Trump's level. Right. Now, Melania Trump has proven herself that she can actually do it. But like, see, this woman is just some old hussy that was like, you know, at the same table that Melania was hanging at, and she was lucky to get there. Okay. But in her mind, since she's never had anything about, since she's never actually accomplished anything of value, like in women like her, in their minds, like they don't like to realize that reality would just hurt too much. So in order to like to save their ego, they just turn to Al Bundy 4 touchdowns in a single game, right? And they think they can always get 4 touchdowns in a single game whenever they want to now because they did it when they were, you know, teenagers or 20-year-olds, right? It's really and this is what I'm saying with his friend. She's turning 30. Once they start to get older, man, like I told him, we was laughing over beers, and I said, look, I told him this in the bar. I said, I think that all women, once it becomes clear that they start to develop this delusion, they need to go to prison for about 10 to 12 years. Just take them off the street, throw them in prison. Right? And they had to do a mandatory sentence of about 10 to 15 years. So, you know, hopefully it'll wipe out, and they can re-enter society again. Because as long as she's in this remember that Lisa Ray shit? Lisa Ray talking about, I can still be diamond. And her belly's hanging over her pants in a jogging suit while she's cooking food. She's got, her skin's all fat and hanging off. Like, I can still be diamond from the Players Club. Like, no, it's over. Trick Daddy ain't ever talking about he can still be Trick Daddy because he know he ain't Trick Daddy no more. It's gone. It's sad, man. Like, this shit is so sad. Like, and that's why, look, I'm going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. I could be Leonardo. I could see Leonardo DiCaprio's method now. I see it. All right, at first I was a little questionable. Like, how could he really do that? I get it. I completely understand Leonardo DiCaprio. I get it. He's cut the age down to 25. I'm a little more open. I say 28, 29. I'm a little more liberal. I've always been easier. Okay. If I was in America, I would say 30 to 35-ish is when it's going to start happening. But in Prague, I would say about 28 to 30. Yeah, I would lower it down because it's just so much more competition that the women, they get that pressure on them a lot sooner. In America, there's not that much competition. So I would bump the age up to 30 to 35, depending on the woman. But like America, 30 to 35, Europe, 28 to 30. Once they hit these ages, just there needs to be just like 15 prison trucks just on patrol right? And they just keep an eye out for like older bitches. Are they belly starting to hang out their pants? Are they wearing makeup still? You know, are they still doing their hair? And as soon, and as soon as they spot one, they just come out like, you mean like those asylums used to do with the straight jackets. You just come on and just put a straight jacket on them. Just pick them up off the street and just book them. Take them to the station. My name is Jaquisha Laquiva Johnson, and you go into prison for 10 years. Just no questions asked. I mean, maybe a psychological evaluation. Like, do you still think you can go to the club and get a rich man? If they say yes, prison. All right? Prison. If you had sex with a man who was established when you was 22, do you think at 32 you can still get that same quality man? If they say yes, prison. Just take them off and do a good 8 to 10, 8 to 12, and just, that's it. And just leave them in there. Right? And when the time comes, and then they can come re-enter society when they come back to their senses. Because my mother-in-law, the one that I loved, my ex-wife, she told me about that. Her mom went through that phase. Because her mom was trying to run around Prague, and when her mom finally aged to the point where like men no longer wanted her, she didn't date another man for like 10 to 15 years. She just wouldn't touch him because she could not accept that she fell down. She couldn't accept it. So she would just refuse to date any and all men. Right? Until she got older, and then she met a dude with a regular job that was in her league, you know, and she was with him. His name was Lodja. I still remember him. He was a real cool dude. He had a little summer house. We used to go out there and drink beer and sit at the fireplace. I remember all that. I remember because he was building it himself. He always had shit out. He built his kitchen himself by hand. His name was Lodja. Yeah. She's like, she needs to just go to prison. Just fill it up with fucking straight jackets and just come on, just come with us. How old are you? You over 32? Oh, yep, come with us. You go to women's prison until you snap out of it. Just, what's up, Dibs? Just take her to prison. She ain't ready. Now, the only exceptions would be if the woman had like real education to work a real job. If she's done something that can like balance out her worth so she's not so anxious about getting older. If she's done something with her life, like got a real education, got a real job. Like, for example, the woman I teach English to at the bank, she's a director at the bank. She has a real job. I've seen, I've known her for at least a year now, and we still talk all the time. And I tell her I'm proud of her. I'm proud of her. Like, she doesn't need, because she's tall, she's got a great shape, she dresses well, she's always together, she's punctual, she communicates. And I've known her over a year now. Like I said, she's a director at a bank. We meet in this beautiful office to speak English and talk, and we drink juice and laugh and talk about life and dating and kids and Czech Republic. And she was in America for a while. We talk about that. I'm proud of her, but she has the education and she has something that she genuinely gives back to the world, right? So it's like, she doesn't, I wouldn't say she needs to go to prison. She's fine in the world, right? So far, what I know, this young girl I'm talking to now, she's fine. Now, the friend of mine, his friend who's like 28, 29, I don't know. She's still kind of in that gray zone. I told him it's a gamble. She's about 29 now. So I don't know. I might have to pass on that. She's beautiful, but in Prague, that's a hard choice to make. That's a hard gamble. That's like taking with her physical looks and all that. Because we agree, she has good genes. She looks great. She dresses great. That's like taking It's like taking a 15-year-old Ferrari with a slipping, with the clutch is slipping, the oil might be leaking. We're not sure yet. You know what I mean? The sensors, the electricity, the electrical, is flickering sometimes. Like, I mean, the body looks great. The body is polished. It's perfect. The curves are there. The body's great. If you sit it there, it's amazing. You have no complaints about it, right? If you go sit in the car and you start it up, everything works. But the lights are starting to flicker. I mean, I can't get it in the first or second gear. I gotta work a little bit with it. And on top of that, I gotta take this motherfucker out to a racetrack. Right? Where it's new Ferraris out that motherfucker. Like, do I really trust this Ferrari? Not this woman, but the Kazakhstan girl I'm talking about. And I like her. She's cool, but oof. Like, I don't know if I want to take this motherfucker around Spa with, and the electricity's flickering and I can't shift this motherfucker smooth. like you might be all right for another 100,000 miles. I don't know, but it's in Prague. Is it really worth that risk? In Ohio, it'd be worth it. Yeah. I'll buy a new transmission. I'll put a new clutch in that motherfucker. Yeah, not transmission, a clutch. I'll put it. I'll put more. I know a friend of mine. He'll put the electricity in Ohio. Yeah, it'd be worth it. But in Prague, I don't know. Taking that motherfucker to the racetrack. I do like her, but I get DiCaprio. I really do. I get Leonardo DiCaprio. I get it. DiCaprio's doing the right thing. People just mad because they can't do it. But DiCaprio's doing the right thing. He really is. Because he's going to end up with some shit like this. And the brains are just gone. The brain is officially lost in that I still got it. And if I don't got it, something's wrong with you, not me. It's just, there's nothing you can do with that. There's nothing you can do with that. Except knowing you're going to get into an argument, knowing she's going to try to drag you down because she's older, fucked up, whatever. She's angry because she's gotten older. You can't do anything with that. But sit in misery with it. Because I'm gonna let y'all go in a minute. But here's the other the other sad part is women like her always this is another way you can always tell when a woman is severely she's mentally gone. She needs to go live in a prison or a hospital for the next 10 years until she comes back to us because she's just not there right now. Another way you can tell is when these women always claim that they'll be happy when they get the man that they want. No, that man does not make you happy. You are happy, and then you get a man who can add to that happiness, but you are not happy. I don't know what this woman's, and I'm not surprised she punched a guy because she's mad because she's expired goods for what she used to be. She can still be okay, but from what she used to be, she's expired. No man is going to fix that. That's a you problem. I don't care if the richest man in the Milky Way galaxy, the most beautiful. See, these are the sick and disgusting realities that these women hate. And she would probably punch me too if I was sitting in there. I don't care if it was the most richest, tallest, muscular, whatever the fuck, 15-foot long dick, whatever. I don't care if it was the biggest, best, perfect man on in the galaxy. She still won't be happy because she knows that she's not what she wants to be. And she'll find a reason to get mad at him. It's not the man. It's her. It's her. But see, now in her delusion, in her pathetic attempt to save her ego, she can always just say that and then, and then come up with some little, paper thin excuses. And most people just say, oh, well, I guess she hasn't found what she wanted. She can always just kind of use that to hide behind her reality. She's hiding from herself. And most women end up in this boat at some point. They're going to end up in the boat. Okay. Because see, they were always happy as long as they were, they were relatively happy as happy as a woman can be, as long as they were younger and prettier and they could get, a man they wanted. Right? They were always happier, as happy as a woman can be. But it's always once they start to age and all this, now is everything's a problem. Everything. Literally everything.
AKA, I've been pumped and dumped by men who had stuff going on, but they never kept me around, and everybody who's seen this podcast knows why.
I want to make a point because I don't even want to touch that. I think the internet's going to touch that for us. But I think you said that.
If this goes out,
You said that.
you might have to cut this part.
Yeah, you got to cut her part. Yeah. What she said was some. But you
What
said.
I said was some.
Explain, because you held the mic.
You're very sensitive.
You held the mic.
You're extreme.
I've been taking my turn. I've been taking my turn.
Yeah, she's extremely sensitive. And I grew up around boys. Like, I know sensitive boys.
Yeah,
I have all
so
boy
sensitive.
cousins.
So sensitive.
I
I'm
know.
going to cry after this podcast is over.
I can look you in the eyes and see
Yes,
who
tears.
really got it.
Oh my God. I
No.
won't be able to sleep at night thinking about, oh my God, if I could only be with a woman like her. Anyway, but the point I want to make, right, is this.
You think the internet gonna grind me up?
Oh yeah, they're going to chew me up. They're going to chew me up.
That's all they got is the passive aggression, calling you names, calling you sensitive, attacking your manhood. It doesn't help you win the argument, baby. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing your daughter. You're embarrassing everybody in your family.
Absolutely.
You're a very insecure person. You probably thought that I was gonna be. You're not used to women like me.
I am not used to masculine women.
I'm not a masculine woman. I'm so soft.
Shit.
Exactly.
You date young men 6 years younger than them. You want them to be gangsters.
That's not what I said.
And women then.
You're not married. You don't have any kids. You're a YouTuber. I'm a veteran. I'm a widow because I was married, right? I have a daughter that I put in one of the best schools in this country, right?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say how much I make money, but I make very good money. I'm a contributor to my community.
And I'm still a
And
woman.
always, I don't want you.
And I don't want a
Like,
woman.
what the-
And I don't want a woman. And I don't want a woman like you.
And women don't want men like
I
you.
don't want-
Women don't want men like
I don't want a
you. He's
woman like
upset because women are becoming more like me, and he's not
Doesn't
like.
upset me.
It's
It
not
doesn't upset
his
me.
My
thing.
dad always told me that a man is not going to argue with a woman.
Absolutely.
We're having a
not.
discussion. I'm not arguing.
My 6-year-old, the one, the young boy that was 6-year-old, wasn't back and forth like this.
It's like,
I'll tell you that.
She didn't stay with him.
You're a coward. I
hold on,
know
hold on.
gangsters. No, listen. I want you to understand
I know
something because I told
gangsters.
you this before. I know gangsters.
What does that mean?
And I'm looking you in your eye right now. You're not.
I'm not
I'm
a
sure
gangster.
nigga no.
I'm not a
You're not a gangster. You're also a coward.
Why are you
and you
upset?
don't like
Why are you upset?
women because I
Black
don't.
women.
Because no,
And
you
I love
don't.
black women,
And you're
dark-skinned
so
women.
insecure.
I love dark-skinned black women.
You're inadequate.
I love
You're
dark-skinned black women.
extremely
But I don't like
inadequate.
masculine women.
I'm not
I
masculine.
like
I'm telling you
dark-skinned
the
black
truth.
women.
You're a child.
Why do you keep
You're a
doing
child.
Okay.
You're a child.
You're allowed to say that.
You're a child.
What I'm trying to make
You're
is
a child.
There's the men that make $9,000
You're a child.
that want to date this.
I have
Who wants this in their household? Who wants to come home to this?
whatever.
it's
Yeah.
Who wants to come
He's
here?
right.
Wait,
Thank you.
okay, time out.
Who wants to come home to this?
How about we get back? Let's get back on topic. I don't want to take.
And it's not just black.
And we-
I think beautiful women. I think black women are objectively the most beautiful women on the planet.
What did Malcolm X say? The black woman is the most disrespected and unprotected woman in this country,
Yes,
right?
yes,
And when we internalize that and we do that like that,
BWs are the most, whatever, disrespected and unprotected women in America because they're the most disrespectful women in America. The most out-of-pocket, disrespectful, reckless women in America. So it makes total sense that they would be the least respected and the least protected.
Oh shit! Say it again. She believes
Before you-
that men of value
Oh, this might
want
not
this. She believes men of value want this.
nigga, look. First of all, you smell funny, right?
I smell funny?
Yes, you do. You smell funny, and the niggas that I fuck with, you can never touch. Even the white boy, you lame ass nigga. Are you serious?
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
I didn't know I missed it.
Now look at the chick with the head wrap.
Gain from that.
White boy, you lame ass nigga. Are you serious?
Oh.
Out of pocket for that shit.
Now look at the chick with the head wrap. She loving every moment of it. Look how happy she is that her girlfriend just swung on her. If she's like this on a public platform, I would hate to see her in private.
Oh,
Would have
yeah.
grabbed her finger and
Yeah.
then you know what?
Yeah.
Would he be the monster?
Hell no. Hell no.
Yeah. If she's like that in public, You do not want to be around that in private. If she's like that in public, there's a reason why she doesn't have a man, and you just seen it. That's sad, man. I feel sorry for women, especially women in a position like that. You know, she's not a model. She's not, she's not gorgeous or anything. She has an attitude. Which I'm pretty certain she's not very well educated at all. If I had to, we'll assume about it. And if she is, no educated people would want to hang around that. Could you imagine, as a man, which most men can't, could you imagine being born into being something that is like immediately cared for more and like protected, you know what I mean, for the first like 20 years of your life? and then you just age out of but you think life is going to be like that all the time, but then you end up accidentally aging out of it. And you just don't know why, like, you're just mad all the time, and you you can't get what you're trying to get, what you used to get in, and all that. You know, it really is like the ultimate rug pull is like being born a woman. Like, it's the ultimate rug pull. Like, you were you were used to life a certain way, and then you just get older. Javed, yeah. If she's gonna do that in public, yeah. See, situations like that is okay. Like I said, like with my spouse, like it was about 2 weeks ago, I kicked her out because she came up, she got mad and she was drinking. I was in another room playing Nintendo Switch. I was playing Shinobi on my Nintendo. I think it's a great game. I love Shinobi. I think it's better than Ninja Gaiden, however you pronounce it. But she came over there and she wanted to talk and she wanted my opinion. I gave her my opinion. She came over, reached over and put her hands on my neck to like choke me. So I pushed her off of me. And I said, look, the next time you walk out this flat is the last time you walk out this flat, right? And she hasn't been back. She hasn't even been on this street ever since. Don't even ride the tram up here ever since. She's not, she don't have keys, nothing, right? And that's after she knew me. You know what I mean? Like, see, a woman like that lives in a household of flat out domestic violence. You see what I'm saying? So as a man, like, your only option is to just beat the dog shit out the bitch, or just never ever let a woman like that anywhere near your life at all. Right? Once things, because women are going to be women. Once they know they can do that, they're going to do it, and it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse after. Like with my spouse, I had seen signs of that coming, like just little signs of that coming. But they were real little and very spaced out, but there were little signs. But once things hit like domestic violence areas, as a man, like if you stay in that, you're going to lose unless you kill her, right? Like she's going to get law involved, whatever, or you'll just snap on her finally after she's done a lot to you. Like, look, that woman just from that outburst right there, that should be all that any man should know of her, to never ever 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 think about even wanting to be in the same room with that, because there's no good outcome for a man. All right, as far as any man should be concerned, that woman should be completely dead to you. Just imagine she has AIDS, syphilis, brain cancer, everything. All right, that woman should be completely left alone, 1,000%, just by that outburst, and in public. Because if she like who's, I think Javi, said you, if she did that in public, and knowing that she's being recorded, and she did something like that, and she wasn't drunk or anything, if she did that on camera, dude, no. Mm-mm. If she did that and she knows she's being recorded, and it wasn't even like he was like squaring up with her or nothing like that, or, she just got up and turned into that, she needs to be put up under the jail. Like, don't. I'd rather jack off for the next 20. If I had to choose between having to have sex with her or jacking off for the next 10 years, I'd jack off for the next 10 years. You don't want that. Period. At all, man. Don't you think educated women are worse, more like educated with propaganda? Okay, lonely merch. I'd say the educated thing is in the same boat. You have to get an educated woman who's getting into a real field, not like I wouldn't even say psychology. Like, don't get with a female psychologist. Like, you got to get with a woman who's like in a real field, like some type of which is going to be rare, but some type of legitimate some field that is going to, because even psychology, you can kind of bullshit your way through a lot of psychology. But like get a woman who's like in a serious STEM field where like she can walk up in there and be directly told, no, you are wrong. That way she learns how to adapt and actually genuinely give critical thinking, and she learns how to be humbled. Right. If you don't get with a woman, like if she's studying like communications, I would even say psychology fits in that boat. These fields that she can kind of like, or English, you know what I mean? Yeah. I wouldn't say history, because history, you still have to have a pretty mathematical logic on it. You can't really bullshit history, because there is still a 2 + 2 = 4 to history that you can't bullshit your way through. But like these fields that you can really like, is this huge gray area kind of fields. Don't know. Yeah, those women women educated in those fields are generally going to be trash. Music, I won't say music. I knew a lot of trash who was in the music department, but you have to get the good ones. You have to get the ones in music. You have to get with the ones who are playing instruments in depth, or like singing like in depth, and get them when they're young. Don't get these older women who are just starting to learn piano, unless she did something else previously. Get with women who are in fields where they like so I'll take music out of there for the simple fact of like, get them young and get them when they're singing and playing a factual instrument. Like if I want you to play C minor sharp, then you have to play C minor sharp, or you failed at playing C minor sharp. Not, I just kind of play C minor sharp. No, you either did it or you didn't. And you got to play it in the third position now. Right? Like that hardcore logic. Get an educated woman in these fields. Anything else is just too risky. Anything else. And I even go this far. I've never known of a woman who went to the military who ended up saying, there's a one, when I worked at the VA, I tell a story a lot. When I worked at the VA, so the woman who I'm still friends with now, she didn't go to the military, but she came to work as a counselor. But the head of Ohio, I worked in the office where she worked down the hall from me like 2 days. I would pretty much put women in the military down with women who work at like Walmart cashiers, not in the sense of like financial possibilities, but in the sense of just like destroyed mentality, right? So I remember this woman. So we kind of had like a love-hate relationship with each other. Because I started out making fun of her, and she was like the big boss, so everybody was afraid of her. Because I remember, I don't even remember telling this joke, but the female friend of mine, she tells me that she goes, I remember when you said that. It sounds like something I would say. I remember she came over to our room, and she did something that my friend didn't like. My friend, she's like 60, and she did something that. My friend did something she didn't like, but we were all cool. But she did something she didn't like. It wasn't like she was like a mean boss or anything like that, but she was like kind of mad, and I just blurted out. I said, "Well, somebody's drinking haterade this morning." Like, and I don't remember saying it, but I remember she just looked at me and stared, and she didn't know what to say or what to do, because like, like she just stared at me, but not like I could fuck you up, but like. I hit like, like a personal child string in her. And she just stared at me. And she goes, oh, she always says, even now, she says, yeah, I remember when you said that. I don't remember saying it, but it sounds like something I would say. But anyway, so this woman, the one that was in the military, she was a big boss in Ohio for all the counselors. I remember we were talking one time and she told me she was dating this guy. Now, mind you, this woman had a baby and she was like probably 45 at the time. Her face didn't look bad, but her belly it did not recede. Her belly was just big and hanging. She was skinny too, and she just didn't look good. You know, once you see, so when she told me she was on a dating app and she was dating this guy, like I immediately knew that she must have took one of these pictures like this. You know what I mean? Like some shit like that. Because he did not. Anybody who would see her face would be like, oh yeah. But then you see, pretty much from here down, you'd be like, no. She wasn't like short and fat. She was mostly skinny, but just weirdly built after having her last baby. And she just had a baby. You know what I mean? Like she was not attractive. And she supposedly was dating, she told me he was a rich guy who owned car dealerships in Dayton. So I already knew that wasn't going to work out. Anybody who has ambition is not going over there with that. And she told me she was going to tell me how it worked out. And she never brought it up again. So I think like 2 weeks later, 2 weeks had gone by and I went to ask her what happened. And she said, yeah, he just didn't call me back. I'm like, well, what happened? Did y'all go on? She said, yeah, he was real nice on the date. We went, and she said they went and got, I think like Applebee's or some shit like that. And they, and they ate some little, chick she told me what they ate and he was nice and blah, blah. And he didn't want to talk to her. Like, I already knew. I'm not that mean. I'm not going to say, yeah, bitch, because your belly looked fucked up. I'm not that mean. Because she was like being, genuine with me and shit. So I'm not going to be an asshole. I know some guys who would be that mean. I'm not going to be that mean. But I know exactly why the man didn't call her back. Because she walked in the room looking like Jack Officer from South Park. Let me show you shit, Jack Officer. Jack Officer, looking like Jack. Yeah, she walked in the room looking like Jack Officer with the belly. Can y'all see the belly on Jack Officer? She came in the room looking like that, talking about some. Yeah, I want a man that got some money. Come in the room looking like this. Like, I don't know why you ain't call me back. Yeah, because your time is up. You look like Jack Officer. You can't, ain't nobody trying. You mean, ain't no man with any ambition that got some shit going for him is going, you know what I mean? And you coming up in there talking about you looking for a man like that got this and this, and you come in the room looking like that. Like, no. He probably was, I think he must have been a real cool dude for sitting there and eating with you looking like that. All right? With an attitude like how she had. I want to buy him a beer for not walking off on her. And asking, like, how did you do it? How did you go with a 45-year-old woman that looked like that with that kind of attitude? And she was white. She's a white girl. White woman. How did you find the strength? That's what they need to be interviewing motherfuckers. You know when they give interviews on the news when like disaster happens or when like something and they give post interviews like, how did you deal with it? Like they need to do that for men who date women over 30. Like how did you make it through the date? How did you get enough strength not to just laugh in her face when she said she wants a man who makes 6 figures and she works at Wendy's? Like, how did you find the strength not to laugh and just point the microphone to him? That's what you do. But yeah, I'm out of here, man. Almost 80% that you're gonna meet are gonna lack talent or critical thinking. Oh yeah, completely. I'm hungry. I gotta go, man. I'll catch y'all later. Thanks everybody who tuned in, like, subscribe. I hope I made sense in this live stream because I just rambled a lot. But I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.